Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. Tesla stock is back today, up 4.36% at the time of recording this video. Elon Musk dropped some big news for Tesla investors, and I will share that with you in this video. We will also discuss what is happening in the markets, what's happening today in option activity in Tesla. We have a bunch of things to cover, but first, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel. Number 2, check out the link down below in the description of this video for the trading community. We are finding undiscovered AI stocks, okay? At the ground floor level, before retail knows about them, before Wall Street is invested in them, and these stocks are not like 100% opportunities. A lot of these are 10, 20, 30, 40, 50x opportunities. Getting in at the ground floor is powerful. Check that link out down below in the description of this video. But on to today's episode. So we do have quite a bit of news to cover here in this video, but let's get into some of the biggest news first. Elon Musk on X shares this post, and we actually talked about this on the channel last night. Chief Investment Officer Keith Fitzgerald says betting against Elon is like betting against Steve Jobs. He believes Tesla is headed towards a $20 trillion valuation. Elon Musk shares this post and says extreme execution is needed, but a valuation of $20 trillion for Tesla is possible. That would be a 20x from here. Hedge funds and institutions definitely are taking notice of bold predictions like this one. And some of the huge news on the day today as well, being reported from Business Insider. Tesla apparently told their staff they plan to roll out the Robotaxi service in San Francisco this weekend. And again, it's kind of like what I said in the last video. Tesla sold off 8-9% yesterday. But it was an overreaction. I think perhaps the Tesla team wasn't trying to hype up their AI, projects. They're taking this approach of underhyping and over-delivering. That's what it sounded like to me. And even though, Elon said things like the Robotaxi is going to scale at hyper pace and the Robotaxi is going to address half of the US population by the end of this year, Wall Street did not seem to take notice of that. They focused on the hypothetical comments that Tesla could have a couple bad quarters. Nobody really paid attention to the positive headlines. I think because people were so heavily biased in a negative way heading into Tesla's earnings to begin with. So this is seen as big news today. Also in the news today, Volkswagen could sell parts of its Robotaxi unit to increase capital. Tesla has also released its first ever video of FSD Supervised being tested in London. Specifically, this Model 3 on FSD Supervised was seen here navigating the complex Swindon Magic roundabout in the UK. I mean, this thing is massive. If I went to the UK and tried to do this, I don't think I could, okay? And I consider myself like an excellent driver. Like, it is way overcomplicated. Like, why does this even exist is my first question. But the fact that Tesla could do this on FSD is just incredible. We also have the first Model Y review from India that is out. It says, quote, "The iPhone has been your go-to status symbol so far to show the world that you've made it. But that can change now because the Tesla Model Y is officially launched in India. In the Mumbai automotive landscape of rickshaws, cabs, and all manner of SUVs, the Tesla Model Y stands out. It feels its price." CS Energy's new $115 million Tesla Megapack battery energy storage system in southeast Queensland, Australia, has started commercial operations. This battery has the capacity to power 66,000 homes for 2 hours in the evening peak before needing to be charged. The 200 megawatt, 400 megawatt hour battery features 108 Tesla Megapack 2XL units, and is the first large-scale battery in the Southeast Queensland Load Center and CS Energy's second grid-scale battery, joining the Chinchilla battery commissioned in 2024. Tesla has also just introduced new incentives for new orders of the Cybertruck Model S and Model X in the US. Here's what's new. 2.49% APR without the purchase of FSD, 1 year of free supercharging for inventory orders only. The Model S is 1 year of free supercharging for inventory vehicles with model year 2025 or earlier, and the Model X is 1 year of free supercharging for inventory vehicles with model year 2025 or earlier as well. Also today, all paint colors are now free on the Model 3 performance orders in the US, which means any configuration you choose will now qualify for the $7,500 federal EV credit, which expires on September 30th, even ones with the white interior. We did get video today of the IIHS Cybertruck crash test. Some of these in slow-mo, some of these not. Check it out if you would like to. It's not really important for Tesla stock, so we're not going to pay too much time to this. But the NHTSA gave the Cybertruck a 5-star rating as it scored the lowest overall probability of injury and lowest chance of rollover at 12.4% rollover risk of any pickup truck tested by the NHTSA, which is not It's not a huge surprise to us. Elon Musk also responded to Trump. Okay, Trump yesterday basically said he's not coming after Elon. He wants Elon's companies to be successful. The more successful they are, the better off America is. And Elon said, quote, DJT has already removed or put an expiry date on all sustainable energy support while leaving massive oil and gas subsidies untouched. SpaceX won the NASA contracts by doing a better job for less money. Moving those contracts to other aerospace companies would leave astronauts stranded and taxpayers on the hook for twice as much. And it does look like there is going to be a question for the shareholder meeting whether Tesla should invest in XAI. Now, anonymous China Renaissance, apparently this is an analyst, downgraded the stock from a buy to a hold, but kept their $349 price target on the stock. That is the only change from analysts that we have today. But so far, following this earnings, you really haven't seen any changes. Dan Ives kept his price target, $500, kept his buy rating. Cantor Fitzgerald kept a buy rating and a $355 price target. Chris Pierce Needham reiterated his hold rating and does not have a price target on Tesla. Like, you haven't seen any changes, which I think is a positive, from a Wall Street perspective, because they seem to be the first ones that'll mark down Tesla. But I think the fact of the matter is yesterday's earnings didn't really change much. It just confirmed that, yes, cheaper models are coming by the end of this year, kind of met expectations that people had heading into the call. And autonomous, we kind of got good news there, but Wall Street didn't pick up on it much. Okay. And I think that's part of the bounce back that we are seeing today that I called for in yesterday's video. Now, option activity today from hedge funds and institutions is on the positive side. That's for sure. You have 171 different trades totaling $102.62 million with a positive order value of 85%. Overall volume for today's expiration is 52.5% calls and 47.5% puts. So it looks like hedge funds and institutions are actually a little bit more bullish on Tesla, perhaps than even retail investors. Now, we have seen heading into Tesla's earnings, the short interest of free float did drop from about 2.81% down to 2.49%, which is quite a big drop in Tesla standards. You have $21.35 billion sold short in Tesla currently. The amount of shares sold short dropped from about 79 million down to about 70 million, so almost 10 million shares that were covered. And here on the day today, 417,000 shares that on net are being sold short. Now, from a technical perspective, today is kind of important. You want to get above and close above the 200-day moving average at $319.64. Tesla currently is at $319.55. like within pennies away from this moving average. If you can get above that 200-day moving average, that's great. It puts you back into, this upper end range, okay? Because we are above our 100-day moving average at $294, but we're below our 200-day moving average and the 50-day moving average. You really want to get above $326 per share. That's where things start to look really good for another upside move. And just the bounce back you're seeing today shows that yesterday's earnings reaction was the wrong reaction, as we thought it was. Over on StockTwits, sentiment is neutral at 53 today. Message volume is high at 72, and Tesla is the #1 trending stock on StockTwits today. Google Trends data for Tesla's lineup of products looks strong as well. The Model Y recently hit a high of 29. It fell to 26, okay? The Model 3's been kind of ramping up, though, recently. It was in that 16, 17 range. Now it's at 19, so that looks great. The Model S is at 7, relatively unchanged. The Model X at 5, which is relatively unchanged. The Cybertruck went from 11 to 12. So you're actually seeing some pretty good Google Trends data on a worldwide basis for the Tesla lineup. Let's look at the United States, because a lot of people think there's going to be this pull forward of demand for Teslas since the tax credits are going away. And the Cybertruck recently went from 8 to 10, and now it's at 10. The Model Y has went from 16, now it's at 18. The Model 3 has went from 10, now it's at 12. The Model S, pretty stable at 5, and the Model X, pretty stable at 4. So overall, it does seem like there is an uptrend in activity around Tesla. And boom, just like that, you are now above your 200-day moving average. Tesla stock approaching $320 per share. Now, here in the news today, Sanctuary Wealth says expect the S&P to reach 7,000 by year end. I have been saying this as long as I can remember during the even crash event back in April when the S&P was briefly in the 400s. I was saying, I think we're going to hit, 700 or 7,000 on the SPX by the end of this year. Now, you've been grinding higher for a while, and you only need a return of about 10% from here. And I do think we have a pretty perfect setup to get there, as long as Trump does not, enact these 100% tariffs on China, India, other countries because of the war in Ukraine. If Trump were to actually enact those tariffs, you're at least going to get a correction. But I don't think Trump wants to destroy the economy to cause irreversible harm. And that makes me optimistic that we're going to have a strong end of this year. Although August, September seasonality is kind of dicey. Keep that in mind. The U.S. is preparing new legal grounds for Trump's Brazil tariff threat. And cracks are widening in Japan as U.S. interpretation of the trade tariff deal. EU officials and diplomats say a European framework trade deal with the U.S. could happen this weekend. Trump says Australia is set to take U.S. beef for the first time, a very big market. He says, I hope our great farmers are happy. UK's Prime Minister Starmer will not meet Trump until Monday, contrary to the remarks from the U.S. president as he boarded Marine One. Stifel says they see a 12% drop for the S&P 500 in the second half of 2025. Trump says he would use tariff money for rebates to Americans. Trump says the EU has a pretty good chance of making a deal. Says we will send close to 200 tariff letters. Trump says he may impose unilateral tariff rate on Canada. Trump says, I haven't had a lot of luck with Canada. I may impose a unilateral tariff rate on Canada. There's not a lot of negotiating, and I am not focused on a deal with Canada. Trump says most of the deals are letters instructing tariff rates. Some letters will say 10%, 15% tariff rates, which is seen as good these days. Trump says that most of the trade deals are finished right now. Trump on a UK trade deal says there's not a lot of wiggle room on steel and aluminum. Trump says, I had a good meeting with Powell on interest rates. Trump says the EU may have to buy down their tariff. Trump says France's Macron on Palestinians doesn't carry weight. Trump on Russia says we're looking at secondary sanctions. We may have to. Trump says that China and Japan are dominated because of weak currencies. Trump says a lower dollar makes the tariffs worth more. Trump said, I had so many different fights with China's President Xi. And Trump says, I have the right to take over DC. Trump says, when you have a strong dollar, you can't sell anything. And Trump says that Japan wants to have a weak currency. Trump says, Powell told me economy is doing well, and that he thinks Powell will lower interest rates. And Trump says we are nearing a final trade deal with China. And Trump, about possible clemency for Maxwell, says it's an ongoing investigation. Trump says he's mulling rebate checks for low-income Americans. Now, if this were to happen, then I would get a little bit more concerned about inflationary pressures. Trump says that Powell is a very good man. A big change of tone from what we've seen recently. Trump says we have the confines of a deal with China. And Trump says we'll have most deals done by August 1st, if not all of them. Trump on Fed Powell says he got the impression yesterday from Powell that he might be ready to lower rates. Trump says 50-50 chance of making a deal with the EU. Also in the news today, Tesla is behind pace on Elon Musk's goal of producing 5,000 Optimus robots this year, according to the information. So far, the number of Optimus robots Tesla has made is in the hundreds. Bot says we'll be watching the next Fed meeting very closely. Now, apparently, Powell has told multiple associates and allies that there's no chance he will bow to President Donald Trump's calls for him to resign, vowing to withstand several more months of the president's unprecedented, multi-pronged assault over Powell's refusal to lower interest rates. U.S. preliminary June durable goods orders fall 9.3% month over month. The estimate was negative 10.8%. Durable goods excluding transportation rise 0.2%. The estimate was positive 0.1%. So that was actually much better than expected. But what I want to see here is durable goods excluding defense. That came in at negative 9.4%. The estimate was negative 6%. So that was actually not a super great number. It was kind of a mixed bag in terms of the actual data that we got this morning. And the Federal Reserve says they honored Trump's visit yesterday. And the Fed says we are grateful for the president's encouragement to complete important renovation project. Eric Trump says Ethereum is undervalued. Eric Trump signaled support for claims that Ethereum is undervalued, reposting a crypto analysis view that Ethereum should be above 8,000 based on global liquidity trends. Trump simply commented, I agree. China's Xi says China's economy continues to improve steadily. Kremlin says obviously unlikely that a complex peace process can be completed in 30 days, suggesting again they are not going to meet Trump's deadline, which kind of puts Trump in a weird spot. Does he give Russia more time, or does he try to stay, steadfast in additional tariffs on other countries? I don't think he's going to. Thus, this should be a kick the can down the road kind of thing and actually allow markets to continue to improve and get stronger. So let me know your thoughts on all of this down below in the comment section. Ladies and gentlemen, Tesla stock is now up 5.36% at the time of recording this video, sitting at $321.55 per share, almost gaining back all of what was lost yesterday, which was about 8.2%. It does seem like people got way too bearish on Tesla way too fast, and we are back in the zone, baby. Hit that like button and subscribe to the channel if you have not done so already. If you guys want to come discover undiscovered AI stocks, energy, robotics names, biopharmas with us, I share my trades, I share what I'm doing. I screenshot things so we can all stay on the same page. Check that link out down below in the description of this video. Have a great rest of your day, and I will see you in the next one.